Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at how you can Extreme Z awaken the Strength Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and the AGL Super Saiyan Goku. So we just need to go across to the challenge section and go under the Extreme Z area, Hero Extermination plan. Here you will find all of the various stages for the awakenings of multiple units from the Hero Extermination event. If you open up the info section, you can see all of the heroes that can be awakened. This Hero Extermination event EZA area requires you to have both Whis and Hachiak. Both of them can be earned from the Hero Extermination plan, the Super and Extreme side. And you can see there are various stages, and in those stages we can see all the units that we can awaken using this event, the two latest being the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and of course the AGL Super Saiyan Goku. Now we'll start with Vegeta's stage as it's the first one, and you're going to need to include Hachiak and Whis in your team. Now in terms of lead, you're probably going to want to go for maybe Majin Buu or someone who's got a 60% all type lead. That's going to be something that's super helpful towards you. And of course, you know, in terms of team builds, you do want to be a little bit careful with physical units. You don't want to include as many physical units as possible, just so you can reduce the amount of damage that Vegeta does, but also just to speed up your entire kind of process of farming and doing things. So that being said, you definitely are going to want to just focus in on basically choosing a team that doesn't have that many physical units. The rest is pretty simple. The fights are not too hard, and in the both difficulties the unit can be stunned, which makes things somewhat easier in terms of difficulty, because obviously being able to stun the units kinda does help, since being able to stun units generally prevents them from dishing out big damage to us and allows us to control the flow of the battle. You're going to want to move the physical units into the floating rotation, and then that's going to let you basically have control of the entire fight. There's not really that much else that you need to focus on. The rest of the fight will be pretty straightforward, and you can just basically proceed as you wish with the stage. You look at Whis. Whis over here makes things a lot easier because he's an AGL unit and he has stunning capabilities, but also Whis himself does provide basically a heal and some extra form of defense if our health gets super low. But we shouldn't really have an issue. The friend Vegeta is a leader of strength, tech, and the AGL types, so you should be, physical types, so you should be pretty covered across the board in terms of your team being covered. Obviously, preferentially you want to take AGL units, because those are going to be able to help you to farm the event at a faster rate. Units like the Kaioken Goku are going to be super useful. Whis himself is obviously super useful. So generally speaking, you're going to want to focus on using those units. But that's it for the first stage. Then we just swiftly move on to the second stage, and there's no real difference in difficulty. It is slightly harder, so you may want to focus in on that, which is why you'll see I'm floating in a new AGL unit, just to obviously increase the kind of performance of the team and give us a little bit more control when it comes to the event itself. So yeah, other than that, it's not really that difficult. Like I said, the team pretty much chooses itself. There's not too much to focus on. You just kind of want to make sure that you don't have your physical units in harm's way, but you know, if you don't have those, if you're kind of fine with that, then you should be more than fine. You shouldn't have any difficulties with the event. We'll see Vegeta here. He is essentially just doing his own thing. He's not got any special resistances or anything, which makes the fight way easier, because again, like I say, we can just stun him once more and use a unit like Whis, who's got multiple super attacks, to just kind of keep control of the entire fight. Once Vegeta's stunned, getting rid of him is pretty straightforward and easy. There's not too much that we have to focus on, because again, this stage is just not that much more difficult than the previous one. Like with all EZA areas, you get bronze and silver medals on the first difficulty, you get bronze medals on the left hand path, and you get silver medals on the right hand path, and you receive gold medals and rainbow medals on the second difficulty, with gold medals being received on the left hand sided path and rainbow medals being received on the right hand sided path. You will need 15 bronze medals, 42 silver medals, 30 gold medals, and 30 rainbow medals, which means you have to run each stage a total of 3 times for each medal, which totals into 12 different attempts. Of course, you can get question marks, and you should get at least 1 question mark per attempt, which means you should generally come out with doing 5 attempts on each stage, which will give you 10 attempts in total, unless you are quite unlucky, so to say. But that's it for Vegeta. So Vegeta pretty much done. Nothing too crazy that we need to focus on here. He's done, so obviously you can just farm his medals if appropriate. Vegeta is a Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, which means he doesn't really have a farmable super attack, which is a little bit unfortunate in terms of his just general design. We don't really have anything that we can farm him with. Then we'll move on to the next stage. This is Goku stage. Again, the criteria is the same. Generally just try not to have strength units in your team, but otherwise you run a pretty similar team. And you can use tech units like the Tech Vegeta or the Tech Margin Vegeta. Both of these units will help you basically increase the amount of damage you do quite substantially and will prevent you from taking a lot of damage, which always helps. And that's pretty much it. You don't need to fluctuate the team build too much. Again, the stage remains pretty much the same. Goku can be stunned. There's no real special gimmick to him. Your bronze and silver medals in the first stage, your gold and rainbow medals in the second, and of course you need the same amount of medals for Goku as you do for Vegeta. So there's nothing too crazy with these events. People who've done them before shouldn't really have any problem. Generally, if you are attempting these events, let's say, and you haven't worked on the previous units, I always suggest trying to start with some of the first ones, because those are a little bit easier. And doing Whis and Hachiak's EZAs also help. They can also be found under the same section, but that will also help players quite a bit, just because, yeah, it can be a little bit difficult in trying to take on this event if you either A, haven't EZA'd the previous units, or B, you haven't EZA'd Hachiak or Whis, because they are free to play units, so it should be pretty easy to EZA them. And they do help out quite a bit because they are generally the weakest units in the team before their EZAs. Like, they're not strong at all. So generally speaking, you want to EZA them since they are kind of the main weak point in the team. But that's it for the first difficulty of Goku's event. We'll move on to the second one now, but the process remains the same. So these EZA areas, people always ask, are they worth it? Well, the EZAs to the units are okay. They generally make them pretty decent mid-tier units. They don't usually make them super incredible, but they make them very viable. They make them help out or flesh out teams like the Super Saiyan 2 and the Super Saiyan Goku supports. But they bring a lot of utility, which is always helpful. And of course, these units can all be used for the upcoming LR Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 EZA, which does help again, gives them additional purpose and viability, because of course, you know, you kind of want to EZA the Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 LR. They're going to be a super good unit, and they're going to be a nice little addition to your box, and they're a great super class support. So the LR Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 definitely are worth the effort, so you're probably going to want to prepare for them by EZAing these units. And starting with Goku and Vegeta, who are some of the strongest ones and the latest ones, will help you out quite a bit, especially Vegeta since he's strength type, and that's going to help you take out the Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 EZA area at a much faster pace. So that's everything that you need to know about the event. Of course, there are some missions that are tied to it. You can see them here. They're generally just for attempts of stages, so running them once, 5 times and 10 times in total, and you will grab yourself a little bit of stones and some zenny. Nothing crazy, nothing like huge money or, you know, huge rewards or anything like that, but still pretty cool nonetheless to always get something else back. And yeah, Whis and Hachiak, like I said, you will need them. They come from the Hero Extermination event, and you can check Vegeta and Goku's EZAs down below. Vegeta gets a nice little upgrade. He becomes really good depending on how much ki he has. He becomes a pretty decent offensive unit in the second slot. And then Goku becomes a unit with varying utility, gaining a whole bunch of defense and other helpful bits of utility depending on what your health levels are like. Which is pretty nice. You know, it's nice to have units that just provide this kind of utility, and you can float them in on Super Saiyan teams or Goku family teams, and I'm sure he'll be able to help you out quite a bit. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. Everything you need to know, guys. So you shouldn't really have too many difficulties. As I've mentioned before, you know, these units all come from the same event. So if you ever need the awakening medals for these units, or you need to farm Hachiak, or you need to get Whis, they drop from these two events, the Hero Extermination plan. But that's it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and as always, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care and bye.